Hey guys, it's Christina. This is Vox and Guest, and I am joined today by not only a community favorite, but Facebook's favorite band, AGBAT. Say hi, guys.
Hey, what's happening?
Oh my goodness. I am so happy to have you guys here. You were actually the first band in the indie music community on Facebook that I found. And it was largely because you were storied in your ability to get your asses handed to you by the platform. But then I actually heard your music and I was like, oh, okay, I see why everybody knows about AGBAT. But so why don't you guys just introduce yourselves to anybody who doesn't know you and explain what it is that you each do in the band?
I'm Chris Knight. That's
voxandstix.
yeah,
And
we're AGBAT.
yes, and so I'll help out. You guys both sing, and you guys are both multi-instrumentalists, right?
Yes.
And Chris, you do the songwriting, right?
We both do the songwriting. I do the lyrical content and the melody of the vocals. He does most of the musical production of the stuff, but I come in and I'll be like, "Hey, why don't we change this? Or can we maybe make it sound like this?" And he goes, "Screw you!" And then we do something else anyway.
Oh, it's one of those really lovely working relationships. I gotcha. Okay, yeah, all right, but yeah, you two are a whole band all by yourselves, and if you had told me there were like 9 people in AGBAT, I would have completely believed you based on the sound, but there are not. It's just you
We
two.
need 9 people in AGBAT to actually perform live. So.
Well, yeah, that's a very good point. So, okay, so listen, before we get into the meat of the interview, I do always like to ask a really intelligent and meaningful question just to break the ice at the beginning.
Okay.
So, take your time with it, be honest, dig deep emotionally, and then answer the following question, please.
Okay.
Which one sucks harder, a paper cut or biting your tongue?
Biting your tongue, it hurts immediately, but a paper cut hurts the day after.
Yeah, pretty much. That's it.
Wow, look at that. A true collaboration. Chris, you're going with that exact answer?
That's pretty much it. It's paper cuts. You're gonna feel it for the next few days. You bite your tongue, it's gonna go away, and it'll last for a little while. Unless you bite it, and then are we allowed to do the old cursing bit here?
Oh, 100. I can tell you haven't seen the show.
Dirty Turkish, Harkaback, Flatten, Borton, Philip, Barton, Perkaluma, Burton, Durton, Bush, Natten, Martin, and Adamo.
Oh, I think I already cursed before we started. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, feel free. Go have at it. Yeah, if you bite the shit out of it, that's a different story then.
Fuckity fuck, fuckity fuck, fuck, fuck. Okay, it's out of my system.
Thank you, Santa. I appreciate that. Giving the children little pearls today. Okay, so so now what if you do bite the shit out of your tongue? Does that change your answer?
No, because I mean, you hurt yourself either way. So.
Okay, all right. So we're going with paper cut. Shocking. I would have thought the other way around. But at least the band is in agreement, so I have not caused any strife with that question. I appreciate that. Okay, so before we get into AGBAT specifically, and am I saying that right?
AGBAT, yes.
AGBAT, okay. Before we get into the band, why don't you guys each tell me how you got into being musicians in the first place? Were you little kids? Were you teenagers? What got you all started?
I'll let you go first because mine's kind of long.
It's long.
Yeah, I'll do the short version, but you go.
Yeah. Well, I had friends in school who played music, and when I listened to them, I was like, wow, I want to do the same thing. And that's like almost 20 years ago now.
Okay.
So yeah, started playing guitar and experimented a little bit with keyboarding and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay. So this was like, what, were you like 13, 14? Were you like 18? I mean, you're clearly not close to 40. So, I mean, like, how was this like,
Yeah, 13, 14.
Okay, so yeah, that seems to be an age that a lot of people start figuring out that they want to be musicians if they haven't already. So, okay, so guitar was the first thing then?
Yeah. Mm.
Okay, and when did you realize you can sing too?
I really can't sing.
So that hasn't happened yet. When did you agree to start singing? Let's take it that way.
I've always liked singing a little bit, but mostly in the background.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not in the front like Chris.
Okay. And then when did you pick up what all the other things that you play? Because again, you don't just play guitar
Yeah,
and
that was
keyboards.
that was a little bit later when I started writing my own music. I needed drums and synths and that stuff.
Yeah.
So I had to learn it. So yeah.
Okay. So out of necessity. And then, so what do you feel most proficient and comfortable playing at this point? Is it still good? It's guitar? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. I love that you're going to answer for each other. This is it's very Abbott and Costello. I like it. All right, Chris, lay it on me. You have a tale to tell, and I am here for it because Lord knows I like talking a lot. So you don't even have to do the short version if you want. Just give me the story.
Okay, well, my mom she was a professional musician before she had me. She's played with a lot of famous names, big names. I'm not going to name drop and say who they are, but they're big names.
Okay.
Then she had me, and it was like, be a rock star or raise my kid right. And then she said, hey, I'm going to raise my kid. So by the time I was about 3 or 4, I was sitting on somebody's lap doing the drums, and I was sitting around the piano, and my mom ended up getting a piano when I was like 7 years old, a baby grand. And I took up piano like that, played jazz piano in school. Went to classical competitions doing that.
Wow.
And I joined the Navy, and then I took up drums, and I learned how to play drums, and I learned how to play bass. And then I picked up guitar kind of throughout the time when I was a kid because my mom taught me some stuff.
Okay. Was she a guitarist, or what did she
She's
do?
an acoustic guitarist, a vocalist, singer-songwriter from like the 70s.
Wow. Okay.
I'll give you 2 names that she's played.
Please.
Joe Walsh and Bonnie Raitt.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're talking like big names.
My mom kind of sounds like Linda Ronstadt, but better when she sings.
Wow. And you don't want to name check your mom so we can go look her up? You don't have to.
Yeah, no, that was way back before
anything was. I gotcha. Okay, so there's nothing we would be able to hear of her.
Yeah, no. But what's funny is that my mom and dad, like a few years ago, before what was his name, Glenn Fry, who was that passed away in the Eagles.
Yeah.
Before he passed away, they were playing down in South Florida, and my mom and dad were at the show. My mom was singing at the top of her lungs, and Joe caught it and looked at security, went, go get her, and went and got my mom and dad and brought them down. My mom's like 70, but I think she was like maybe 65 at the time. Went and got her and my dad and brought her down. My mom looked at my dad and said, see, I told you I wasn't full of shit.
I love that that's what it took. God knows how long they've been together. And it was like, I told you, like, right. Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so you were steeped in music from the beginning, and mom showing some of that unconditional love that you guys write about, decided to leave it behind was it permanent or for a while, or did she ever go back?
She still writes. She's written some really cool tunes, and I think some that need to be out there. But she needs to find somebody who can record her and get it dialed in.
Yeah, she doesn't know anybody like that. I mean,
no, not where she lives. She's like, it's past. I don't care anymore.
Aw, okay, all right. But so you then you've got all drums and the guitar and the bass and everything. And so when did you realize you had this voice?
I've been singing since about 1996. I've been singing since then.
Okay.
Multiple bands. I married a Norwegian woman back in 2003, and then we finally moved to Norway back in 2015. And I started singing with these guys. He had a band called Jordfresser with a bunch of mutual friends, and their lead singer ended up going to school, so they needed a new singer. We're like, let's just write new material. Okay, and then Centrum was formed. And we had probably a little over worth of an album's worth of material, and then the drummer was like, I'm going to go become a police officer, and he left. So,
no. Okay.
It's actually a good thing. I'm actually super proud of the fact that he became a cop. He's now a police officer in the town like an hour away.
Okay.
And every now and again, he still comes in and like, we'll get together and play. We did that, like 6 months ago? We got together and jammed?
Yeah.
So we'll do it every now and again. But then I have a few side projects that I do for music. I have it's a Supertramp and Jethro Tull tribute band called Super Tool. And I sing the Jethro Tull stuff, and my wife sings the Supertramp stuff.
Okay.
Each other and stuff, and then we're also in choir together. So she's in a choir where she sings like classical choir type music.
Wow. Okay.
And then
so you're a little bit different from what you guys are doing together. So okay.
I listen to literally any and all types of music. I mean, that's why I share as many bands that,
Yeah.
I haven't done it quite as recently. I used to share bands like literally all the damn time. Like, dude,
Yeah,
you gotta check these guys out. But
yeah.
no, I just music's been my life, literally my entire life. So I was actually a music teacher last year in the school across the fjord from us.
Oh wow. Okay.
It's guitar, bass, drums, and piano.
Oh my gosh, that's fantastic. Okay, so I mean, like you live, eat, sleep, breathe music, and always have. So this is, okay, that makes a ton of sense. Okay,
this is my personal project, my personal passion project with him. And it's something that is like, if I didn't have this with him, I'd go fucking crazy.
yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean that's and especially because you guys are so unique in your sound and your style and the way that you make music, and I mean that in a good way. It's not euphemistic. Like, I think finding each other where you get what you do and it makes sense to both of you is kind of impressive, because I don't think just anybody could be in AGBAT. Like, I don't see that happening. Like, you guys are too complex. You have too much going on in terms of genre and rhythm and tempo and all this stuff that we're going to talk about. But so then you guys started just almost 4 years ago now, right? January 2020?
Yeah, January 5th of 2020 is when we started.
Right. Okay. And
so we actually owe our existence to a band called ELO, or ILO. They're called ILO.
Okay.
Out of England. The lead singer's mom, I basically texted something. I'm like, because I was pretty much done with music after Centra broke up. I was all like, Centra broke up. I was like, yeah, I'm done. I'm gonna take a break for a few years and maybe get back to it.
Okay.
And then I heard ILO, and ILO was kind of doing stuff at the time that I was wanting to do it. I'm all like, God damn it, I gotta think of some other style to do now.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, you guys got the torch, I love what you guys do. Send. And then I got a message from the lead singer's mom.
Okay.
Lead singer's mom was like, you know what? It doesn't matter how old you are. Get out there, do it. You just don't stop. Don't stop. I'm like, Sandra, hey, you know what? I actually have something I started. You want to come over and check it out tomorrow? Yeah, sure.
Okay, so that was the genesis then, because so at what point had you conceived of, because I mean, you guys are, I mean, I've said something like this before, but it's especially true here. AGBAT's genre, which I don't think there is one, is impossible to define. Like, and I think that's a great thing, actually. But I mean, you have metal, clearly, and you have rock, and you have soul and R&B and some synth pop, and you have like prog, and I mean, you've got all these different elements to your music, and that had to have been done intentionally, right? Because you can't mix everything that you two do. And I mean, guys, I'm not even talking about like, one song will be a metal song, and one song will be more of a prog song, and one song will be more of a rock. No, I'm talking about the first 43 seconds of this song will be very beautiful Spanish guitar, and then the next minute and a half is going to be like intense metal, and then we're going to throw some rocks. Like, it's song within song with its song. It's like, so, I mean, how did this project occur to you? How did you decide that this was what you wanted AGBAT to sound like?
We don't even know.
No, we don't know.
We don't know what it's like. We just write it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay. Go ahead, Sandra.
Yeah, we kind of like make a part and make it sound all right, cool, and we dig it. And okay, let's figure out how we should
See if we can make it sound better.
Yeah, make it sound better and make a song out of it. And
Okay.
it pops in different things in our heads and
Like
try to make it work. We've said before that we don't want just one genre.
yeah.
We
No.
want to blend different types and
No, but you do it, and you do it in such a way. What'd you say?
I say just watch her do something that's country.
You know what? If you told me that was next, I'd be like, okay, it's gonna be like country gent with like, new wave. What I would be like, yeah, okay, totally. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Classic AGBAT, but I mean, I really. I know people know you guys. I know people in the community already know you and what you do. But for anybody who's newer to the community that maybe doesn't, because you guys are a little less active online than you had been for a while, like you people watching, you need to understand that nobody sounds like AGBAT. Like nobody. It's so. And I'm going to say this and trust that I can explain how I mean it as an incredibly positive thing. I find when I listen to your catalog that it challenges me. And I don't mean it's hard to listen to. I mean, I have to really pay attention to grab everything. And I love that. I love that listening to AGBAT's music is not a passive experience. Some music you can just kind of close your eyes and let it wash over you. And I tried that because that's usually what I do the first time I listen through to everything is I just sit on my couch or whatever, driving, and I close my, no, I'm not driving when I close my eyes, but like, I'll sit on my, it would explain a lot driving in New York.
Depression, Stevie Wonder.
Yeah. Oh geez. But like, I will sit there and I will just kind of let it wash over me. And I can't do that with your music. It gets me worked up, and I mean, and we're going to talk all about this, but I want to play your song in a minute. But like, it is very cool how because I've heard you guys over the the year, but like actually sitting down to listen to the LP all at once and everything else. Like, because the first thing I heard, of course, was the cover, which we're going to get to. But and so I knew I was in for a fun ride. But I love that I am commanded to pay attention by what you guys are doing, because the second I might be about to settle in to the song, you completely change it on us. And in a way that is so tasty, like, and really fun. And I think that's maybe what it is. It keeps me alert because I'm waiting to see where the song is going next. And most, like a lot of songs, and it's not a bad thing, but a lot of songs, a lot of bands, a lot of musicians that I listen to or have listened to over time, by the time you get to the second verse, with the exception of the bridge, you've heard the song, and it can be a great song, but you know what the song sounds like. You know what the intro is, the verse, the chorus, you've got the structure, the bridge will take it somewhere slightly differently, and then you'll come back with a chorus to some sort of meaningful out, right? That ain't happening here. It's not that you don't have a song structure, but we may start with something that's super metal and end with something that's almost ballady, and in a completely different genre. So I feel like for anyone who doesn't already happen to know AGBAT and what you guys do, this is a good place for us to play a song so that they can hear for themselves what we're talking about before we keep talking about it. So why don't you guys just say a little bit about All My Demons, and then we'll throw to it and come back and talk about it more.
What do we say? All My Demons. Therapy?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
It's one of our, it's more heavy, maybe, than the other.
Yeah, but it also just, it's like she was saying, it kind of takes you on a journey.
Oh, yeah.
The little little back, a little switch up of the beats.
You know what, guys? I'm going to do it for them here. Okay. This song starts in one place, ends in a whole other. There's a whole lot of great shit in the middle. It fucking kicks ass. Just listen to it. This is All My Demons by AGBAT.
Been trying to get my head into a place where I'm happy to live. It's so hard to do when your personality is so addictive. I wish that from inside I could shine without having to wrestle and fight all the beasts and the burdens that always haunt me through the night. So I go deep diving inside my mind, trying to find that happy place inside that I can never seem to find. I try to quit it all by myself, never asking for no one's help. It's all the same to you, I don't think it's any of your business. As I fall and I reach out for help, the hands that do grab me drag me straight to hell. Oh no, here I go again. Why did I let all my demons back in? Oh no, here I go again. Why did I let all my demons back in? Tired of feeling alone, tired of this disconnection, tired of feeling controlled, tired of this misdirection. Why can't I just let it go? I thought I quit it all by myself, never asking for somebody's help. Now you should've just me at my reality fell. So I go deep diving inside my mind, trying to find that happy place inside that I can never seem to find. I quit it all by myself, never asking for someone's help. It's all the same to you, I don't think it's any of your business. Oh no, here I go again. Why did I let all my demons back in? Oh no, here I go again. Why did I let all my demons back in? Can't find my happiness inside. Can't find my happiness inside. Can't find my happiness inside. Happiness inside. So I go deep diving inside my mind, trying to find that happy place inside that I can never seem to find. Oh no, here I go again. Why did I let all my demons back in? Oh no, here I go again. Why did I let all my demons back in?
I mean, I love this song. I really do. It is I love how industrial it is at the beginning. You know, I just love that feel. Like it right at the beginning, it kicks you right in the balls, right? But then I hear, and again, I will state this as I always do. I only make comparisons when I think they're favorable. You may not like the bands that I'm hearing, so I apologize in advance if you don't. But like, especially in your vocals, Chris, I hear some Depeche Mode which I love. It's got that very kind of commanding confidence, and but then, you know, you're doing a lot with rhythm and tempo in this song. So talk to me about that first, because there are a lot of tempo changes in this song. There are a lot of different, you know, we've been talking about different genre feels and everything like that. And I mean, you've got a really hooky chorus, but what was the decision to make the rhythmic elements so changeable? Was there one? Or did it just come out that way?
It wasn't that, kind of, it wasn't that big of a rhythm change. It's just goes from triplets to 1/8. Yeah, actually.
Right,
So,
but I mean, but you know what I'm talking about, though, where the feel of the song will change from section to section.
We just go with what we feel works. If we like it, because here's the thing: we're not writing for everybody else. We're writing for us. This is our hobby. This is our thing that we do. We're just sharing it with everybody else. Here, check this out. If you happen to like it, cool. If you don't,
right?
Well, yeah. And when I'm here at the studio, try to make some riffs and stuff. I kind of like the rhythm of the first riff, and then how are we gonna move forward with this one? And okay, let's try this one. And just put it together. Okay, we have to change the tempo to 1/8 here. Okay, and we do that, and let's get back to the triplets later.
Right.
Yeah. But what's funny is that he's more technical with terminology and stuff. I just go by feel. I'm like, I kind of feel like it needs to be like this or like that. And he's just like,
okay, that's what I'm trying to get at, though, because I understand that this is not meant to be, you know, marketable pablum. You guys are not trying to win anybody over with the music. It's almost like a bonus if anybody likes it. I get all that. But like, even apart from, you know, the audience or anybody that might be listening to your music, the way that you two put your music together is very specific, and it's very different, and it's very interesting. And so, you know, when you said that, like, oh, I feel like here it needs to have some this, or maybe here we start growling, or here there's metal, or here I want to throw something that's maybe a little bit more rock in there, or whatever. Like, that is just go for it.
Prime example on our first song on our album,
Defined,
yeah.
Yeah.
The beginning of the second verse, I was like, dude, you know what would sound cool here? My wife's John Bay. Can I get my wife's the drummer?
Yep.
And what's funny is I'm sitting here in this chair facing this direction with the John Bay held, because I didn't have the stand, held in my legs. No. And I'm trying to do some stuff, and he's sitting here with the mic down here and a mic up here, so I'm trying to record it. And I'm like, and I got the whole thing on, like, what was it, the third take? We went with like third take. I got it the third take, and the last drum beat that I hit, the thing like went over the mic. And I was like, that thing's okay.
Well, if it was a Shure, I would have been more worried about the drum. But yeah, that's like, okay. But that's the part. I mean, I know, like, interviews can be broader. I like the weird nitty gritty granular stuff like that. So like that you were like, oh, you know what? Let's bring that in. Like, not necessarily something that other people, you know, like, and I'm thinking a little bit of, like, you know, when I spoke to Sol Noir and they have the didgeridoo in there, and it's like it's a fundamental part of the music there. Or when I talk to Justin from Storm Kingdom, and Justin's songs will also start in one place and completely move to another, and will blend genres that don't sound like they should go together. And, you know, he said sort of a similar thing, which is, that's kind of what I felt like it needed to sound like there. And I think the thing is that when I talked to Storm Kingdom, when I'm talking to you, you know, whenever I talk to anybody whose songs are, you know, more changeable like that, and aren't content to just be in one lane for the whole thing, not even just from song to song, but within the song, as we've been saying, nobody ever has an answer for me that's like, okay, well, I sat down and I decided that I was going to chart the journey of a song where it was going to begin in this place and then go through this forest of a section and then come out over here in this genre. Nobody has ever said that. It's just, that's what came out, or that's what I thought it needed to sound like. And I guess the question that I really am asking, which may be unanswerable to someone who thinks like that musically, is, why is your brain so fucking cool that that's what it thinks needs to come next? and then you will take us from something that is in completely one genre with one feel and one vibe and one sort of tempo to, because I understand, if you take out 16th notes but you keep the kick the same, it's the same tempo but the feel is very different, for example. So like that's something that fascinates me, that instead of thinking like, okay, well, we're writing a pop song and so here's where we need to bring in the chorus, that this big synth thing and build the strings and it's got to hit this emotional note or whatever. You guys don't seem to think like that at all. And if you can talk to me, if I've asked the question more clearly, a little bit more about that. Like, is that just a sense of like, you guys have been influenced by so many different genres, you like so many different, okay, you're nodding, come with me now, talk to me, tell me the things, talk to me, so tell me your brains, I want to know.
What's funny is that he and I kind of listen to the same stuff, but I am more broad.
Okay.
Because again, my mom being a professional musician,
yeah,
I grew up listening to everything from the 20s all the way to the 60s, 70s. Like I was listening to, Ella Fitzgerald. I was listening to, the Eagles, of course, and listening to all these different bands, and they're like from the 50s and 60s and 70s and 80s. And then when I was in the 80s, and I stole my sister's Metallica Master of Puppets tape.
Okay.
And I heard Battery for the first time. I was just like, oh. And then I heard Pantera. I went, oh. And then I heard Living Color. And it was like, oh.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. And then Seven Dust. And it was like, it was one after the other. I started hearing all these new bands and new sounds and new feels. I'm just all like, so I'll even listen to stuff like Brazilian jazz.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense to me too, with some of that rhythmic influence and some of the, again, not that you put in anything that sounds like Brazilian jazz, but jazz is obviously not everybody gets it because there's so much going on. It can be so mathematical. It's complex. It's not linear in any way. Mm-hmm. And some people don't like that, but I find that that's the kind of idea that I get in what you guys do, which is that it doesn't sound improvisational in the sense of like, okay, I don't know where they're going with this, but it does sound like in the moment, it's more improvisational. Like, you know what we could do here, and then you go and get the drum and, crush your microphone or whatever. But like that to me, most musicians, most people, I think, don't process like that. They don't hear a song and start it in one place and think, I think now we should make a complete left turn and go here. And I love that. I love that. And I love that it works, because I'm always amazed by the ability of bands like AGBAT to pull it off. Because what you guys do, and I've said this before to other musicians on the show, it could be a mess, right? I mean, like, you're moving around so much, you're blending so many different things together. And it's never, ever, ever a mess. Like, it feels like it goes exactly where it needs to, but I never would have thought about it.
Organized chaos.
Organized chaos. Okay, I like that. Sandra, is that pretty much your take on it too? Or you've been pretty like,
yeah, I think so.
Well, what about your influences? Like, what, I don't usually, ask about it so early on, but I think for what we're talking about, especially in this context, it's important to know, like, what, obviously metal, but what else do you listen to that you're bringing into the mix here?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I usually just listen to metal these days. That's what I have the most feelings for right now. So
okay.
When I grew up, I was listening to bands like Guns N' Roses and Metallica.
Okay.
That kind of stuff. Offspring.
Okay.
Yeah. So
same stuff I listen to.
Yeah. So more softer 80s kind of rock, hard rock. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I began to find myself a little bit more, and I went a little bit more heavier.
I think when I came into Centrum, they were still playing in 440, and I'm like, can we go to drop C? And so it's like, okay.
Well, and I mean, it's a good thing to bring up too, is that you guys, part of, I think, the heaviness of the music is that you do detune, right? Like that's your.
Yeah. We're in
So
what,
I
G
mean,
sharp?
Yeah, I think G.
Yeah, I think we're in G sharp on most of the songs.
okay, yeah, and I mean, so that had to have been a conscious choice. You can't just fall into that. That's something you clearly have to plan for, otherwise you really do have a mess. So like, I mean, was it? I understand that because you guys are going for and achieving things that
You
you
want another
can't
reason?
generally. Yeah.
You want to know the reason why?
Yeah, it's going to be something real simple, like you didn't have a string or something, right? What was it?
It's even better than that. I am naturally a bass when I sing.
Right.
My voice is naturally low.
Yes.
Like
Okay.
a
Even your
bass,
speaking voice is low. Yeah.
Yeah. So me trying to hit the high notes, I can hit them, but it's falsetto sometimes, and I can push at times and get those notes I want to hit. But hitting stuff like, for instance, like Miles Kennedy range, no, I can't do that.
Right.
You got to know where in the area, in the realm of where you can work.
1,000%, because you can hit it, but that doesn't mean you should. And I know, and you lose all your resonance in your head voice. And so I believe me, as an alto who's always, singing girl parts, I feel you on that one. So, okay. So you just wanted it in a area that was best for your timbre and your range.
That was comfortable for me. So I
Okay.
wasn't straining. Because even in drop C, I found myself straining at some of the stuff that I wrote.
Yeah.
And I tried to go high, going, I feel like it needs to go here, but I can't hit those notes. Because that's not where my voice naturally is.
That's right. No, I love that self-awareness too, because I think it's something that comes with time unless you have training for it, because people will think, well, I could hit that. But, over time, I think as a singer, you hopefully start to develop a sense of where your voice is at its richest, its fullest. And also you just don't want to blow your fucking chords out, right? So, that's a good bit too. So, okay, so that was but I mean, once you've committed to detuning, you've kind of committed to if not a certain sound, a kind of feel or an aesthetic that is not specific, but it's not standard either, literally or figuratively. So did that change anything, or was that just, okay, now we're doing it in G?
It actually happened. We were in what? Drop C still, or drop A?
When we first started? Yeah, I think drop A.
Drop A, and I was still, I was singing, I was thinking we're doing ELE.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's a big one too, vocally. So yeah.
Yeah, and it got too high, and I'm like, wait a minute, dude. I'm like, and then I sang it without the music. I just sing it where I felt
where
comfortable.
You wanted it. Yeah.
And he goes, okay, wait a minute. Jesus Christ, dude, we're in G. Yes.
We are now. Okay. Yeah. See, I do that. I do that with my band a lot. I'm like, I know this is where it is. Here's where I want it to be. What key are we in now? And the guitarists are always like, fuck, and they got to sit there. And so I hear you. But I love that that's, yeah, go ahead.
And they end up with strings as big as their pinky and shit.
Exactly. But no, so, okay. So, I mean, so that right there is, okay. So I'm hearing then that a lot of this is really a combination of just influence, where you want it to go, and then necessity, just in terms of range and all of that. So, okay. So that explains some of the more logistical elements of it here. But I mean, again, you guys do range very widely. I mean, like that. So was ELE the first thing that you put out?
Yeah, ELE is the first thing we wrote, the first thing we put out. The project that when I called him up and said, hey, you want to do something? He's like, I actually have some. I actually have a couple of things. We want to come over and check it out. That was ELE.
Okay.
Second song was Unconditional Love.
Okay. Okay. So, I mean, by that point, you already know that this project is not going to be anything that is standard or one note, literally or figuratively, because those two songs, just even lyrically, could not be more different from each other at all. So, and actually, it's cool because you named two of my most favorite songs. So, I mean, why don't we? I mean, again, I know that. We've gone over it a little bit here, but why don't we talk a little bit more specifically about the songwriting process? So does it generally, I'm assuming it doesn't start with lyrics because most people tell me no. Does it start with, a lot of times it's a guitar riff? Like, I know it's probably different from song to song, but like, let's begin with ELE. Okay. You had something, you were building. Where did that one begin? And then how did you guys end up crafting it together to what we hear?
I think he had the first and second verse and chorus. And
Everything? All the instrumentation?
no lyrics, no nothing, just the music.
Okay.
And it was really, really rough.
Yeah.
So, and it took us a couple months to actually get it down to where we wanted it. And yeah, I write all the melodies and lyrics. I hear a guitar riff or a chord progression. I'm like, okay, what can I do here to make it sound, how I think it should sound, or how we want it. Like, I'll do stuff. I'll sing something. I'm like, I'll sing it one way. He goes, no, bring it down, because you already did that the other time. Bring the vocals down on this one. Well, okay, so I'll bring it down. So he'll kind of guide me sometimes. Instead of doing this note, maybe try this note instead. Okay, but everything else, it's just, it all blends.
Okay, so like, but like with All My Demons. So I mean, you've that oh no, here I go again. In the chorus, and again, very, very catchy. Like, is that something that occurs first? Do the lyrics always come last?
For me, the lyrics come last because I need to feel the song and see what the song feels like to me. Feel like what I want to put. How it. Like, I'll come to him sometimes. Like, what does this song make you feel? It makes me feel pissed off, or it makes me feel this. I'm like, all right, and I'll try to take it and or like Find Out. That's kind of how Find Out came out. I'm like, what does the song make you feel? He's like, pissed off, like I want to fucking beat somebody's ass. I'm like, okay, good. And Find Out.
That's it. And it's so funny because at first, I see the title and I think like, oh, Find Out, that could mean a bunch of things. But like the fuck around and could absolutely be in parentheses in front of that one, because holy shit. And I mean, like, to end on that too, it definitely, but I wanted to get into that too, because so, you guys just released All My Demons, November. And before that, you had the LP Darkest Parts back in February 23, right? Yeah, so we've got, this LP, which is, guys, you've got to listen to it if you haven't already, because it's just, there's so much to listen to. There's so much ear candy. And as I said, it's challenging in a good way because it will make you listen and pay attention. Yes, Chris, I see you raising your hand nicely in the back.
It's also, there's, I don't know how the hell we did it, but there's actually a story.
That's exactly where I was going. Exactly.
If we actually have it pinned to the top of our Facebook page, it explains the entire album.
Yeah, and I love that because I hear the story. I hear it in the lyrics. I hear it even. I mean, it's interesting. I was curious because, you've got ideas like, which I don't think anybody's going to argue with, but like, hey, dude, just fucking be a good person first and foremost, right? Like we're going for that. This is something we would advocate for. You would think that would be a no-brainer, and sadly, it's generally not. But then, you've got your, everybody fucks up, everybody fails, everybody makes mistakes. Don't be defined by that. Don't let that, tell you who you are and limit you and restrict you, which again, I mean, everything that you guys are talking about thematically, I'm on board with, right? So then, the world sucks. Things are not great. And we got to wake the fuck up if we want to maybe have any chance of doing anything about that. Also agree. And then you've got this beautiful ode to, I'm assuming, your child or your children. Right. And so, focus on your family, focus on your loved ones, focus on that good stuff in there. Be a good parent, be a good person, bring people through the world with you gently, which again, I fully support, and then I love that you guys are also talking about mental health, PTSD, making sure that you're not, and with like, please ask, don't just disappear, reach out. People will be there to help you. You can, I mean, guys, you see where I'm going with this, and just to be clear, what I'm talking about here is song to song to song to song to song. So the all of these things are baked into the lyrics, which you can thankfully understand quite well. You know, and so this idea of like, it's fucking hard. It's hard in the world on a macro level, and then it's hard in our life on a micro level, and we need each other, and you can reach out, and you don't have to just sit there quietly and suffer. Please ask for help if you need it. Please ask for love if you need it, which I don't think enough songs, especially in metal and of any kind, are saying that these days, you know. But then I love that you guys kind of end the album on a, but if you fuck with us or any of those people who we love, our family, the people we're trying to help and be kind to, anybody with mental health problems, whatever, we will absolutely end you, and we will smile while we're doing it. So like, it really is a story, and I love every chapter of it in that way. I love that you guys have something to say, you know, because a lot of times people will have something to say musically, and then lyrically it's almost an afterthought, you know. And it's one of the things I love about this community, that's generally not the case, that people do want to convey something of import, but you guys you're doing it in a way that is different from everyone else. So like, when we talk about those themes, that story, that kind of arc that you began describing, and I was exactly where I was going to, because it's one of my favorite things about the LP, and there are a lot of favorite things that I have about it. Was that something that you decided to do as a whole, and then, you know, the song slotted in, or was it just as you wrote, it was like, okay, this one makes me feel angry, I'm going to write to find out this is what this is about. This one is unconditional love, I'm going to write about my kids. How did you write that story?
How did this all come about? So here's the thing. I kind of knew that I wanted to do that. I didn't say shit to him about it. He didn't find out the last fucking minute. The only thing we did want to do is we were attempting to do was to have each song, like, okay, work with me if you can understand this.
Yeah.
First song goes, second song. There's a little bit of the first song in the second song.
Yes.
Go to the third song. There's a little bit of the second song in the third
There's
song.
a little Venn diagram between songs all the way through. Yeah.
Yeah, all the way through. That's what we were attempting to do. And lyrically, you know, I kind of looked and listened to everything after it was all said and done, because we were trying to figure out in what order we wanted to put the songs. I was like, you know what? I was looking at it, I'm like, and I sat and I wrote everything down, and was like, yeah, this should work. I handed it to him. He's all like, how did you, I'm like, does it work? Yeah, it works. Cool. All right.
It kind of fits together.
Yeah. So, but I kind of wanted to link the song somehow.
Yeah.
Together, and the best, and I think we did it the best way that we possibly could. I mean, I'm super proud of this album, of the Darkest album. We basically were like, let's bring in some kids. Let's bring in a female voice. Let's bring in this. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, and that, I think, it's certainly not what I would call a concept album, right? But like, it does have a thread, and I think that, given that so much of the rest of the elements of the album are changeable, you know, and that you are, you know, pulling us from genre to genre and feel to feel and all of that, the fact that there is an underpinning to Darkest Parts is so smart, because it's not only enjoyable in itself, but it anchors the LP in a way that lets you be able to play more in other elements. You know, if everything about it were just completely disparate and you didn't have, even within the song, if you didn't have something to say, if you didn't have a point lyrically, and it was just something that sounded catchy or something that sounded good, it would still be enjoyable. But I love that you're doing all of this instrumentally, and then I'm hearing those stories as I'm listening, you know, and that they are, and I think some of it is because of the vocals, because, you know, Chris, your voice is, and I know, Sandra, you don't think you can sing, but I disagree with you, but obviously Chris is doing the bulk of the singing, but like, Chris, your voice is so, I mean, I like to try to be eloquent on this show, but fuck it, I'm just gonna. It's cool. It's really cool. Like it is, you know, and it's, you know, you've got this very, you've got this. It's not specific's not the right word, but you've got this very unique timbre, and again, good unique. Like you almost sound like certain other singers to me, like I said, you know, Depeche Mode or whatever, but you don't. It's just there are little elements of things. And then I notice, and I, of course, as a singer, I like to geek out on this, but you do change your voice depending on what you're singing too, which I also appreciate. But like it gives it this swag, you know, like just coming in. It does. And I mean, and I don't say things I don't mean, so I really do mean that. But like, but it's but I love that you can do that and genre hop and blend the way that you do. Because it's funny that you mentioned Living Color. Because when I hear the title track for the LP, Darkest Parts, that was where my head immediately went. It was like a more metal Living Color. I'm hearing Corey Glover. I'm hearing like, and I love that band. Like nobody sounded like that band either, and still does not. Oh, do you have the shirt?
No, actually,
no. I'm like, wait, I can't see what you have.
He's my other fan favorite. Seven Dust.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my eyes are not good. I saw like a flag and some squiggles, but they're okay. So yeah, I mean, but you really are selling it, you know, vocally, and I think that, but it's authentic too. So again, like, and I love that I can hear you now. Is the growling always you, Chris? Is that Sandra? Who's growling when you're growling on the vocals?
That's me.
Mostly you.
Mostly me.
I have some growling in some parts.
Yeah, he's done a couple growls here and there throughout a couple songs. Can't remember which ones.
Oh, I don't remember.
That's mostly me doing the false chording.
Right. Okay.
That's mostly me.
Okay. Yeah, but I mean, but I love that I can go from that and believe it to an unconditional love, you know, and also believe that, you know. So I think that that's something where it is such a gift to have a really talented singer in a band. And like, you would think that would be, I mean it, I really do. Your voice was one of the first things that just leapt out at me about your music back in March or whatever, when I first started, you know, falling into the community or whatever. And I was like, holy shit, this guy can sing. And like, it is not a given. You would think it is if somebody's singing. It is unfortunately not a given. And I said that even about myself as a singer. Like, I know there are better singers out there, but like, it is, so you've got, I'll try not to take that personally, but okay. But no, so I'm good. But I mean, no,
not you.
No, I know.
There's way better singers out there than me.
But see, I knew what you meant. I was just fucking with you. But like, I think that it is, I don't know that most singers could pull off what AGBAT does. I really don't, because you have to be in complete control of what you're performing. And it is, and you have to have that confidence that I mentioned to be able to make it cohesive, because even everything else that changes in the song, we've got your voice as a through thread, right? So, and that's changing too, as we've said. But I think that and the fact that you guys are always fully committed to whatever you are doing in every single song is what gives it that. It's why it achieves what it does. So, I mean, so to be able to say, okay, you know, we're starting with ELE. Okay, like for that to be the first song, you didn't have lyrics at that point, though, right? You just had the instrumentation.
Yeah, we just had he said, here, come over, check out what I've been working on. Okay.
Okay, so Sandra, when you were writing that piece, did you start with a feeling? Were you just, you know, was it dark? Were you pissed off? Were you like, what, I'm trying desperately to get some answer around like, how these riffs, how these bass lines, how these, you know, drum beats and fills and everything occur to you. Like, I mean, I guess the answer could be it just magically falls into your head, but like, was there anything that set that off for you? Because it's
I'm not pissed off when I write music. I can't do shit when I'm pissed off.
Okay.
I love the music, and I have to be happy when I
Okay.
try to make some kind of riffs.
I'm the one that makes you pissed off.
Yeah.
But so that's interesting. So because what I heard, and I want to let you finish there, Sandra, but like what I heard Chris say is that, you guys will write something and then you'll kind of talk about like, what does this song make you feel?
Yeah.
And some of these songs, it's pissed off, but you're not writing angry. So where does that shift happen, that you can be in a place where you're not angry and then you end up writing something like a Find Out where you're like, it's pretty fucking angry,
I don't feel the music is. I don't feel it's angry in any way. It's just what I love. I love the music that way. It makes me happy. And to other people, it may sound like you're pissed off. And we're kind of focusing on that part. What does this make you feel? Okay,
Right.
this is more like an angry part. Okay, yeah, but I'm not angry when I write that stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and I mean, some of it is lyrical too, right? I mean, if the words were different to a Find Out, then the feeling might be different, right? It could just be intensity, and I don't want to imply that I'm like, ooh, this is just an angry song. It's not like that. I think one of the things that you guys always infuse the songs with is intensity of emotion, whatever the emotion is or the emotions are. And so, the lyrics are bellwether on that. Like, okay, this is what the song is lyrically about. But one of the cool things about AGBAT's music is that because it isn't one dimensional in terms of the composition and the instrumentation, it's not like you could even just say this is an X song, it's an angry song, or it's a sweet song, or it's a whatever, because it's too many different things to do that. So it's not in any way, I don't mean to in any way imply that I'm saying, oh, that's the angry one or that's this one. But again, lyrically,
Yeah.
So Chris, you were the one that was pissed off, I guess, when that song was being put together.
Actually, Find Out was that song was that's one of the songs. I'm like, what does this make you feel? It's like, makes me feel like I want to beat somebody's ass. I'm like, all right, or go in a pit. I'm like, all right. So I actually got that line from a buddy of mine in California that used to say, keep my name out your mouth. When you're going around, and I don't want to hear you talking. I hear him say that to people.
Mm-hmm.
I sent him a copy of it when we first put it out. I'm like, bro, does any of this sound familiar? Did you write this for me? I'm like,
did he get a songwriting credit?
I didn't give him a songwriting credit, but he knows. He's just like, bro, this is like the best song ever.
All right, cool. Yeah, that's very cool. But again, I mean, like, Find Out does not start in any way that sounds angry at all. I mean, it's got almost what I think of as like a Spanish guitar kind of feel at the beginning. It's very lyrical and beautiful and not soft, but it's more enchanting than angry, certainly, and then,
reeling you in.
well, that's exactly it, right? But it does not, as we have come to expect from AGBAT, stay there, right? So then all of a sudden, you pull us into this kind of bombastic metal feel, very riff heavy, and I like that you also, I don't think you do it too often, but if I'm remembering it correctly, that's a song where you did a lot of panning, right?
Yeah, there's a little bit of panning in that one.
And I always like that because it makes the song immediately conversational for me. It's almost like a dialogue, even if it's just a sonic panning and not vocals. There's a conversation going on there, and that always kind of pulls me in anyway, right? And then for the verses, it feels at least a little slower to me. It's probably the same tempo, but like you are, again, maybe dialing it down a little bit in terms of, snare or whatever, but like I love all of the texture of that song, you know, and what I love especially about it with that one, because all of your songs have a lot of texture. That's basically what I've been describing for the last however long, but is that up against those lyrics, it makes the song so much smarter than it had the opportunity to be if you were just, you know, if it was like an Offspring wrote it, you know, fuck, you know, what, like it, where it might have just been, you know, something a little bit coarser, say, you know.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's interesting to me that you guys can begin writing in a particular headspace and then end up with something that makes you feel when you listen to it at the end of it in a completely different way. And then that's where the lyrics go. So I mean, like that's very interesting to me. And I hear what you're saying, Sandra, that like, you know, you're too happy to be making music to just write something when and you're not, you know, maybe functioning all that well when you're pissed off anyway. But like, but I'm hearing you say, and that's why I had asked that Chris was saying that when he asked you how you felt when you listened to find out, you said it made you feel like you wanted to beat the shit out of somebody, right? So like, I don't know. I mean, am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, more like the energy from the song. Yeah, and the song itself doesn't make me angry, but
Okay.
Yeah, just the energy, just
It pumps you up. Yeah.
Yeah, pumps you up and go
Okay.
like,
Just get in the pit.
yeah,
Let's just start swinging elbows. We'll do it. So, okay.
Yeah.
But so, I mean, so that, you know, like up against, you know, something like, you know, and I keep mentioning it because I think it's definitely one of my favorites on the album is Unconditional Love. That's a lot more synth, first of all. You know, I almost got some like cooler detuned Yaz kind of vibes from that one, and that's like something I automatically am in love with. But like, it is probably the gentlest thing that you guys have done, if we want to call it that.
The more softer one we did was
Bear the Weight.
Bear the Weight was always, that was a ballad.
Yeah, that's kind of ballad. I wrote that song years ago. I'm like, hey, can we mix it, break it up, throw that song in there? Yeah. So,
Okay, so that was not written at the same time that the rest of the LP was.
I wrote that song probably 25 years ago, 26 years ago.
Okay.
And I had never played it for him. I just grabbed the guitar, I started playing it, and he's just like, that's actually really good. I'm like, you like it? Want to put it on the album? He's like, see if we can make it sound like us. Detuned it, did a thing. He goes, okay, re-sing it. Then,
okay.
So
that one came in lyrics, instrumentation finished, except that obviously you had to, you know, change the key and everything to
everything, add this, add that, you know, do different, you know, better melodies. And I don't say better melodies, but we changed some stuff up at the end.
Oh,
He
okay.
added his vocals and added his harmonies, and where like before that was never there because I always did it solo.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, the harmonies are great, and it's funny because don't kill me for this, please don't kill me for this, but I almost get that big arena Duran Duran kind of feel from those harmonies, which like I again, people will shit on that stuff, but it's still popular for, okay, good. Like but and you even sound a little Simon Le Bon-ish in some parts on there too. And I think it's cool that you guys put that early. I mean, I think that, you know, putting that song early, like, you know, third, I think, because it's defined and then ELE and then Unconditional Love. I think it was not risky, but it was a bold choice of sorts. I mean, I guess it would be if you cared what people thought about it as much as most bands do, at least. But like, because you are really broadening what you're doing at that point. You know, I mean, it's and especially to go from an ELE to an Unconditional Love. Like that's a little bit of musical whiplash there. But again, I was here for it because I never get jarred by things like that. You know, if something is more intense and then it ends up, you know, the next song is something more ballady, so to speak, because I don't think of it as, oh, wait, why are they doing this all of a sudden? I think of it as, oh, shit, they can do this too. And I love that. And knowing that early on in the LP sets me up for, okay, so
What's next?
yeah, exactly. But like in the best way. And again, looking at the track list, you know, I know PTSD is coming. The track, not actual PTSD. Oh, for some of us, yes. But like, you know, and so I'm not expecting that one to be like the Friends theme song, you know, like there's going to be some gravitas to that clearly, right? And then lyrically, I'm expecting, you know, a certain kind of thing. But I just, when you decided to order it like you did, because, you know, Chris, you said like, all right, you know, I kind of have this idea that I want the songs to, you know, blend into each other at least a little bit in some ways.
I actually listened to every song in almost every order you could possibly think
Wow.
of. To see how well it flowed through the entire. I'm like, okay, how about we put this here and this here and this here? We listened to it for a few times and like, okay, it seems to kind of go well. Like, why don't we try moving this one to here, moving this one to here instead?
Wow.
And so that's kind of what we did. And then when we finally landed on what everything was, I kind of looked at everything and I went, there's the story. And wrote everything out in the order that everything was written. I'm like, this is what this album is. And it just kind of worked out unintentionally correct, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, well, yeah, I mean, so just to be clear, the lyrics were done at that point already, right?
For the entire album, yes.
Okay.
Not what the album was about.
Right, okay.
The album, I took and I went through the entire album. I'm like, okay, what does this album say to me? What am I trying to say in this album? And then that's when I created the whole, you know, what the album was about, and took it to him, and he just thought like, yeah, okay.
I'm cool with that. But okay, so then if I'm grokking the sequence here as best I can, it sounds like you guys will get an idea, you know, riff, you know, beat, bass line, whatever, you know, you start writing something, you let it become what you feel like it needs to be from point to point. Okay, so you're not going, and now we're going to do the, you know, the more rock part, or now we're going to do a more metal part. It's just like, here's where I think this needs to go next. So you are meeting your song along the way as you go, in a sense. And then when it's done, you're kind of reviewing what has this sort of big bang thing that has happened here of like, okay, when we sat down and we put it together, this is what we ended up with. What does this make us feel? And then the lyrics are based in that emotional reaction to what you've done. And then from that, you craft a story. Am I...
Something along those lines. Sometimes the songs write themselves.
Okay.
There's been times when a couple songs where it just rolled right the hell out, and you're like, okay, like good example, All My Demons. I wrote that song literally in like the lyrics. I wrote that song in probably 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shit. Okay. That I mean.
He had pretty much the entire musical composition almost finished. When he handed it to me, he's like, "Here, listen to this, see what you think." And I listened to it, and I almost immediately came up with the melody line, the lyrics, everything all at once.
Okay.
And I had everything written down within 15 minutes. I'm like, I got it done. Send him a text of the lyrical content. I went, okay, well, I guess I'll see what it sounds like when you get here. I'm like, hey.
So that was one of those that just kind of came out gift wrapped for both of you. Like, I know those where, like, you know, whether it's like songwriting or poetry or whatever, you just sit down and it's like, what? And there it is. But like that's not typical for when you guys.
It happened like maybe 3 or 4 of our songs where it just kind of just rolled out.
Well, that's not a bad average, though. I mean, in terms of what you've got released, that's almost half of the stuff, right? So I mean, like that's pretty good. But I mean, okay, so but I find it interesting that because you don't write the song from the emotional place that you're necessarily in, that you figure out what the emotion of the song is after the fact. And then generally it sounds like the lyrics will flow from there. Like, okay, this one makes me want to get in the pit, or this one makes me want to whatever. And so to be able to do that and then end up with something that can create a cohesive story across the LP at the end of it, that's a lot of acrobatics that you guys managed to pull off there.
I think for me, I've been literally writing music since like since I was a kid. I've been writing music, but like lyrically, writing lyrics is since 1995, 96.
Right.
So I've written probably close to about, we wrote 14 songs with Central. I wrote probably 15 to 20 songs with my one of my bands in California, about another 20 songs with another band in California. I've been in probably 3 separate bands in California over the course of the years that I lived there.
Right.
I was in Centrum with him here, and now AGBAT. So I have 40, almost 60, 70 songs, 80 songs that I've written.
Right.
When you do it for as long as I've been doing it, I don't want to say it comes easy, but it comes easier.
Right.
You learn the wordplay. You learn, instead of saying something you would normally say, normally you switch up the words a little bit. So it's, it matches rhymes if you want it to rhyme, or if you don't want it to rhyme, you just want to have the feeling, you just roll it out.
Yeah.
And also with the melody of the song, the melody of the vocals. And I try to blend the melodies best I can with whatever, we come up with. So whatever. He comes up with 90% of the riffs. Every now and again, I'll come up with a riff. Like, good example, what was it? Walk It Dry.
Okay.
I came to him with Walk It Dry. He's like, this is dumb as shit. he's all like, wait. And like, come on, man. It's good. It's a good song. He's like, let me work with it. And then he finally came up with the guitar riff that, he felt was way better than I came up with, which it was. And
okay.
He's a really good guitarist. And he's just
I
like,
would agree with that.
try this one. I'm like, you suck, but okay, thanks. It works.
Okay, so but that one I got almost more of like a Trent Reznor. I got like some 9 Inch Nails in there. Like Closer. Like there's a little bit of that in there, at least towards the beginning for me. But like also new wavy a little bit, which again confusing, but it works. But then more modern rock and the metal stuff. And I'm curious then where in that was what you started with, Chris? Any of it? Or was it just completely obliterated by what Sandra decided to turn it into?
The chord progression is there. It was just made better. The chord progression is still the same chord progression I came up with. He just did the, what do you call it? The rhythm of it, I guess.
Rhythm, yeah. You had the intro of the song.
Had the intro of the song, and I think maybe the chorus. And then he came up with something else with the song. Like, we need to put this in here. Yeah, that works. And so here's the thing. There's been times that we've argued about shit, but the way we argue about it is like, we're kind of like,
It's more like, fuck you. Let me do my shit.
Let me do my shit, and you come back and listen to it later.
Right.
But we've never gotten in a drag out fight about some shit. We just, we look at it, we go, and if we don't like it, we don't use it. We actually have probably close to 10 songs that we have that we started, but something else came up, and we put it out.
Okay. So, but do you think you'll end up finishing those, get back to them? Is it that something else came up and you liked it better, or?
We might, the stuff we came up with was obviously better for we felt. That's why you're
it's on the album, right? Exactly.
But there's some stuff there's parts of songs that we like that we might steal for something else. And be like, I love how this sounds. Let's try to, revamp it and make it sound, more like this, or see if we can make it feel more this way. We don't know. We just it's just how we feel. I mean, we come back to something later and go, dude, this song kicks ass. When we first heard it, we were like, that's just dumb.
Yeah. Well, but that, and I mean, I think that's part of it too with music, and I think that's any kind of art that, you know, like people will write something and then they'll be like, oh, this is bullshit, and then they'll look back at it 10 years later and be like, wait a minute, that was, it's, you know, it's like when you look at old picture of yourself and you're like, oh, I didn't think I looked that good then, and you're like, oh, I wish I looked as terrible then as I, you know, I did when I thought it was terrible or whatever. Like it depends on where you are. You know, you come back and you meet your music or your writing or your art again, and then you know, if you come to it with something else, you're going to hear it differently. But like the fact that you guys are doing all of this and really, as I've been saying, creating things that are so intricate and that move from genre to genre, and feel like so much of that could cause strife. So if you guys are not having knockdown dragouts, I think you're clearly even more on the same page than I thought you were, because
we work very well together. I mean, we create well together. I mean, when like I'll hear some shit that he does, like, but like when he came up with the riff for "Never Gonna Give You Up," I was like, I almost felt kind of bad using it for a song that already existed.
But that, I mean, again, that was the first thing I heard. That was the first thing I heard, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on right now? But in the best way, because, you know, I mean, that song, it's so funny to me, the life that Never Gonna Give You Up has taken on with the internet, that like Rick Astley must be like, I don't know why this became a thing, but thank you.
We have a daughter and she's 26 years old now, and when that kind of started about 10 years ago, she literally sat me down on the couch and said, you do realise it's got nothing to do with you?
No.
And I kind of thought, she's absolutely right. It doesn't. It's just a song somebody chose, and therefore to do this prank with kind of thing. So therefore, I don't own it anymore. It's nothing to do with me. This is something else.
You know, eating solid gold cookies every night or whatever the fuck he's doing.
He doesn't get paid shit for that song.
Are you kidding? Was that all still under? So all that's gone. It just went to the label.
He got paid like I want to say like 20. I could be wrong, but I think like $25 or $50 to sing the song. And that's there was 4 other people that actually wrote that song. And he was one of them, but it was 3 of the guys. I want to say it's SAW. Okay. And they were out of England, and they wrote most of the hit songs in England back in like the mid 80s.
Okay.
90s, down there.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, so he doesn't get any royalties for that song. So he doesn't give 2 shits about it.
Save Rick Astley. Oh man, that sucks. Jeez, he's like, fuck
that. He sings it, but yeah, I think another BGM, who like BGI or BGM or who the BMI?
BMI probably. Yeah, BMI, I think.
They bought the rights.
So he's just eating regular cookies then. No solid gold cookies for
Rick. He's got cookies for his own music that he wrote.
Well, yeah, and he's actually that's one of those things like where it always drives me crazy that people really generally only know Bobby McFerrin for that "Don't Worry, Be Happy" song, and he's like so much of a better musician than that one.
Yeah,
so I think Rick Astley is the same thing. You know, if you listen to him, he actually.
You know that?
Who, Bobby or Rick?
Rick Astley. He just put out an album this year.
I didn't know it was out, but I knew he was working on something. Is it good?
It's actually pretty good.
I believe it. No, I believe. No, the kid can sing. Well, he's not a kid anymore, but he can sing.
Yeah, he can sing. It's kind of like a feel-good Sunday afternoon, freaking chill, laid-back summer kind of feel.
Okay. Well, I will. Yeah, I'll go. There you go. See, we're loving Rick up, even though BMI fucked him over. So there you have it. But okay. But so what was the decision to cover that one though? Like, why did AGBAT say we got to do a Rick Astley cover?
Dude, because we've been actually RickRolling our fan base since damn near our inception. We threw out RickRolls like for the past few years. We've been doing it.
Yeah.
And
kind of a meme based.
Yeah, meme based thing. It's all we just shared Rick Astley memes and stuff.
Yeah,
because we thought it was funny. Just post them. And then one day we were upstairs in his dining room, and his wife was sitting there, and I'm like, I just kind of said, "Bro, what would you think about redoing Never Gonna Give You Up? We post all the memes and shit. What would you think of it?"
Yeah.
Then I sang it, and his wife was just like, "Yeah, do it." He's like, "Fuck. All right. We'll see what we can make it sound like."
Yeah.
And then he came up with the beginning riff for the verses, and I'm all like, "Bro, this riff is fucking sick, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, dude, you know what? It's a shame that we're using this on a fucking
For the
song.
Rick Astley one, I know.
Maybe put it in a song that is ours and reuse it. Can we do that? Can we
You
do that?
can 100% do that. You could still do that. Nobody's going to yell at you. You can just say it's an homage. It's an homage. We'll call it an homage. No, really, if you because that it's and one of the things that I love about the cover is that you actually did what I think is a very smart thing, because there are certain things you just don't fuck with too much when people are expecting to hear it sound a certain way. The choruses are fairly faithful on that cover. I mean, I know obviously you've AGBATted it, but the verses, not at all. Like, not at all. And it is such a fun thing as like somebody who's been listening to that, well, not listening, but hearing it, because you can't get through life anymore without it, between RickRolls and everything else. For decades now, to hear it in such a completely different way. And so did once you had that riff and you decided to commit it to the cover, even though you were a little sad about that, like, was it quick? Were you just kind of, all right, we've got it, we're done? Did you battle over whether to keep the choruses pretty much in line, at least with the original, but your flavor on it?
It's kind of hard to try to do something else in the chorus, actually.
Yeah.
For
me.
For him it was. But for me, lyrically, I kind of already knew from the get-go what I wanted to do.
Okay.
Which was make it as soulful as I possibly could, yet still heavy.
Yeah.
And make it as completely not Rick Astley. I was almost gonna sing it like Rick Astley, like in his tone and stuff.
Because he does have the "we know each other," so like there is that. Like I know what you mean, but you didn't do that.
He goes, no. He goes, I don't like the way his voice sounds. You sound like you. You do you. Don't be him. Be you.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah. No, I think it was smart because Rick Astley, he had such an odd timbre on that song specifically. I don't know if he always sounds like that, but it almost sounds like when you slow down vinyl. He's got that and it's a weird, and it worked because the other thing that was the surprise about that was that it sounded like it was some 40-year-old guy, who looked totally, and he was like this 18-year-old ginger with like, so it was kind of a whole mood, I guess. But like it's, I always like hearing people cover that because it's so different. And I haven't heard too many people cover it, but people will like to fuck around with that song because it is such a.
I heard one version that was metal, and they did a good job on it. It was like a lot of screaming, a lot of.
I was going to ask, was it more like a that kind of thing? Okay.
It was hardcore, like super hardcore.
Okay.
But I dig it because I love hardcore. But at the same time, I wanted to do something completely different from what I wanted to keep the song true.
Right.
I wanted to keep it as close to the original as possible, but yet make it us.
Well, but I appreciate that because I think that the easy route to take on covering something like that that's so poppy and so bubblegum and so, I hate to use the word iconic because it's A, overused, and B, it's a weird way to use it for Rick Astley, but like that song has become a thing. It really is a meme now on its own. And to just sit there and go, okay, now we're going to turn it into some, absolute screaming punk thing or metal thing or whatever and just like, throw it on its head. But to change it but keep the melody is a much bigger challenge. And that seems right in your lane. Like that's something that I think you guys are uniquely positioned to do because you're not making music that follows a standard. I mean, not that it doesn't follow a standard structure, but it's not simple in that way. You like the challenge. I think, part of the reason that it sounds challenging is because what you're doing is even though you don't think so, because it's just kind of magically happening apparently when the two of you get together and do your Wonder Twin powers or whatever. But like
Wonder Twin powers activate.
It is. Yeah, I mean, it's not even
water buffalo. No.
Yeah, I know. It was always like, why don't you just become like something that would very clearly solve the problem here? It's like, no, I want to be an ice cube and then drip on the problem until I saw. So anyway, but you guys are. I mean, that was a blast for me to be like, okay, because I didn't know at first when I heard the song, are they a cover band? And then it was like, no, decidedly not. Decidedly not. But I mean, because I think, as I said, I think I was like March or so. So, Darkest Parts had already come out, but for some reason, the cover was what I heard first. And then I was like, oh, this is what they do. But the cover was smart because it made me want to know what your originals sounded like, because it was such a different take on something that I've heard the same way forever. So how did people react to that one? Was it just like,
Evidently not too good because we don't have very many spins on Spotify. So
well, that we're going to rectify that now. I mean, honestly, after listening to this, people are going to want to go and hear what it sounds like, because they really should. It's not, I know some people probably won't listen because it's a Rick Astley song. It's not. You should listen. It's very.
It's an AGBAT song now.
It is. But if you like the original, as many people do, you will still like it. They don't fuck with it so much that it's unrecognizable, which I appreciated, because I'm sorry, like it or not, that's a very hard song not to sing along to. It just is. It's just one of those. So, okay. So not to, belabor the Rick Astley thing, but so just to kind of talk through a couple of the other songs before we start to wrap up. PTSD, again, great song. I really, I love that you chose to write about something so important, and to do it in a way that could be completely enjoyable, even if you weren't listening to it lyrically. But what was the process of writing that one? Like, I'm assuming, I know I'm not asking the same question again. I just mean, like, specifically, aside from everything that you've already said about we came up with something, we want to see where it went next. Like, to write a song about PTSD, you've got to either be ballsy enough to try to take on something that is not something you know anything about, but, I don't get the sense that you guys do that. So where did that one come from?
Or something that you've been dealing with your entire life.
Well, that would be the hope. Yeah. Okay. So this was very personal. Okay.
Extremely personal. Most of the songs that we write are extremely personal. Most of the songs we write are either a personal experience, personal thought, something we went through, some kind of, like, maybe not him, but for me, I've been through a lot of shit in my lifetime. I'll leave it at that. But a lot of the stuff just comes from personal experience, or like from stuff somebody has said, or but mostly it's from experience.
Yeah, it's not like he sings from my life.
I'm not talking about him. It's all I'm the one that writes all the melody lines and the lyrics, and that's basically me.
Yeah.
I do the best that I can. I know not every song is the greatest. I know not every lyric is the best, but it's what I feel I want to do, and if you don't like it, sorry, you don't have to listen. There's literally millions of other bands out there you can listen to.
Right. No, but I think that, that was my expectation of what your answer was going to be, because it doesn't. I think when people write about things that they have no empathy for, you can generally tell. You can generally, no matter how good a writer they are, there is something about the authenticity of singing and writing about something that you understand in your bones that just reads. And it's one of my favorite things about this band is that, you are taking on things that are heavy and intense lyrically, and you are taking on things that are meaningful and important. And I don't feel like you're bullshitting your way through any of it. And I really appreciate that, because it also, if that were going on, the lyrics would let the music down, because the music's authentic too, and so that's I think kind of the elevator speech on AGBAT is that everything that you guys are doing, whether it's, instrumental or lyrical, or even in your marketing, which you don't really do, but just, how you present yourself to the world on social media, and even what you're saying about hey, if you like it, great. If you don't, great. We're not doing it for you. And I don't get the sense that that's like a and fuck you, we don't care about you kind of thing. It's just it's not.
It's definitely not a fuck you. If you don't like us, fuck you. That's not.
No, that's not what I got. No, that's not what I got. It's just, you're not beholden to anyone.
I would much rather like plug a band that's actually touring, or plug a band that has a fan base that's starting to grow and they only have like a few hundred followers.
Yeah.
But that they're touring and they're trying to get in. I'll be more apt to promote them than us.
Yeah, I hear you.
Check these guys out. They're touring. They're going to be over here. Go watch these guys play. We will probably never tour. I would love to tour, but there's
very hard.
Three things stopping us: family and kids, the life that we have here in general, and money.
Those are big things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but again, as you said, we were joking around a little bit about it earlier, but you really would need more people, unless you're playing with a lot of backing tracks. And I don't get the sense that that's something that you would do. So, I mean, it is to be a, 6-7 person band with 2 people, your live options are pretty limited unless you manage to grab people who can.
And to be quite honest, we don't have an accordion or a violin, and we're not a female-fronted EDM act. So here in Norway, and we don't sound like Guns N' Roses or any of those other 80 bands.
No.
So no one here wants to really play this type of music. I don't want to say much less can, but I mean, we know the people who have the talent in the area, and there's very few people that could play what we're writing.
Huh. I mean, I find that kind of surprising given the history of metal.
Yeah, but here's the thing. We live in the Western Fjords of Norway. It's not a town, village.
Right. You're in
like,
a teeny tiny little baby.
Yeah. 6,000.
Yeah, in the village next to us, in New Hampshire where I live, there's like a total of like 5,000 to 6,000 people total.
Okay, but I imagine at some point, even in, I'm probably going to butcher this, but Ace you gotta have people who listen to metal. Like, it's not.
Yeah, but not kind of metal.
Not our kind. More like 80s metal.
80s metal.
They're kind of stuck in the past.
Yeah, they haven't come forward 30 years.
Wow. Okay.
They're still stuck with listening to stuff like Guns N' Roses or Wasp or Y&T or stuff from the 80s, late 80s.
Okay.
Metallica era, unless you're a mainstream band or an 80s band or sound like
know you. Okay, so you're not, your area is not replete with people who would get what AGBAT does. Okay.
No, it would be better either in the United States or somewhere else in Europe, like France maybe, or Germany. Yeah. There's bands like us, and like Steam Slicer, Tarwall.
Yeah.
X-Skull 8. I mean, they're not as heavy as us, but they're still heavy. There's tons of bands, dude. I mean, the list goes on. Oh, also, I'm shocked what happened with Anger Overdose. What happened there?
Yeah, I mean, it is for those wondering what Chris is referring to, and I don't know how much Rob and the crew will necessarily want us to get into, but I referenced it earlier that, you guys, one of the first ways that I discovered you on Facebook was because I joined the community and I was liking all these pages and sharing all these posts, and Facebook was like, we want you to enjoy the platform, but not as much as you are. So we're going to stop what you're doing for a while, and you're not going to be allowed to like anything or react to anything or follow anything. And someone said to me, oh, you got AGBATed. And I was like, I got what now? And so, it came to pass that I dug in a little bit and that, saw that you guys would just regularly get your ass handed to you and be restricted in some way. And so,
that's the reason why we kind of like chilled out for a while, because I was
well, that's it. You kind of have to, because A, you don't want to make yourself more of a target, and B, you're not really allowed to do much of anything anyway. So
if you got coming out or something, and you're banned from Facebook, and you're trying. That's really one of your main promotion spots. Is
Right.
Facebook, Instagram, all that.
Right.
And
You're
trying to keep
screwed.
doing anything.
Yeah,
Guess
you're
what?
screwed.
No one's going to know that you're releasing a song. So I pretty
Yep.
much put a huge damper on how much I was following and
Yep.
posting and saying, hey, check these guys out, because I was tired of getting banned.
Well, that's it. And it's so aggravating because it's literally the whole ostensible purpose of the platform. But
Right.
so this past week that we're recording in December now, there were a bunch of things that went awry and some really beloved bands, AOD, and profiles that just got obliterated. And I can't even talk about it too much without getting really upset. But, one of the things that I'm trusting in is the fact that this community will rally hard and build everybody back up, in whatever format they decide to return in. But
we already followed the Pitch's new page.
yeah. I mean, and then there were some false alarms that went off with different bands. I know Narak was worried for a little bit, but yeah, it's one of the things that's so difficult because, as you said, you have to promote your music if you want anybody to know that it exists. And, just putting it out on Spotify ain't going to do it because it's like throwing a pebble into a section of a ripple of a gigantic body of water. Nobody's going to notice. There's just too much shit that's released every single day. And I mean, it is, in talking about it with people, they'll say like, oh, it's just social media. And it's like, well, it can be just social media, but this specific community is so much bigger than that. It's a group of people who genuinely care about and listen to and support and promote and share and enjoy each other's music. And I mean, there are plenty of follow for follow things if you want to do that, if you want to have your feed. Yeah, exactly. That's right. You want to have your feed filled with shit that you don't care about and people that are never actually going to engage with what you make or anything like that. This is not that, and it's one of the things that I'm proudest of to know everybody in this community is that they do listen. They listen. And that's the whole point. And I mean, we have people like Drew from Drunk and Lonely, who's doing kind of a country, satire thing, listening to, Anger Overdose and AGBAT, where it's not the same genre at all. And then you get his theory in there talking about stuff that Steam Slicer's doing or, Jamsteak is doing or whatever. And Louis Tivy. And it is the most beautiful version of people just supporting each other in a shared passion that I've seen in a really long time.
Yeah.
And that's why it matters,
like
not
Bobby
because it's social
too.
media.
There was a page that existed probably 3 years ago that was called Don't Kill the Vibe.
Okay.
That page was huge. It was one guy. He amassed like over, I think, 6,000 to 8,000 followers within a period of like 6 or 7 months. I'd never seen anything like it before. And it was all bands. It was all like pretty much what you're doing. And I'm like,
band together. Okay.
And people came up with, Revive the Vibe and these other pages that were trying to recreate what this guy did.
Okay.
And the guy just left. He's like, I guess somebody did something or said something. I don't know the particulars about it, but the page disappeared. And I was heartbroken. I was like, dude, it sucks. Because it was the one way that people were finding out about us and how I was finding out all these other bands.
Yeah.
And they just went bye-bye.
I wonder if he got nailed.
I kept contact with a lot of the other bands and a lot of the other, pages and stuff. Kept in contact. I'm like, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
You came along. I was like, yeah, here we go.
Well, as I'm always quick to say, all I did was collect everybody who was already doing all the hard work in one spot. Because that's what, as I'm listening to you talk, it's like, why do you have to make pages that are like the page that's already doing the thing? Throw in with it, make it so big that it's this behemoth that everybody's on the same literal and figurative page with. And then you all, because look at what this community has accomplished this year. I mean, Rotting Sun Records has a viable business now because of this community. I mean, because of the immense talent that Josh brings to the project, obviously, as well. But like, the support, and Greg Filth and Isaac Avenin and everybody throwing in Dead Deceased with him and whatever. People are releasing songs and albums that a lot of people are listening to, and it's because everybody's amplifying everybody else. If you have groups that splinter off, and I see that, like genre niche groups and I'm fine with that. I think anything that gets the community listened to is great, but when people are too diversified, you dilute the movement, so to speak, and so I think that that's kind of been the magic of this year, to me, is just watching what this community can do. And every week I meet somebody new who's just all in. Bobby Kane blew into this community, I fucking basically abducted the poor guy because I heard him and I was like, yeah, no, you're coming with us. But and now he's no, go ahead. Say love up Bobby. I don't want to interrupt that. What were you going to say?
No, Bobby, he's a badass dude. His music is, it's a completely different genre,
Totally
but you
different.
can tell the talent.
That's
you
it.
You can tell the talent. You can tell the fact that he's got a clue. He's good.
That's right.
Yeah,
And I think when you find somebody who's superlative at what they do, even if you don't necessarily listen to or do what they do, you're going to appreciate the skills. Like you just are.
Same thing with Anger Overdose, Robert. I'm proud of what he was able to accomplish.
Yes.
Pissed off about what happened.
Oh yeah.
Jam Steak. The list goes on. I'm known for gay because it's like right at the moment, but I have literally a list of almost a mile long of all the bands that
I know.
I follow, I support, I give shout outs to. And
I see them, and they're all different genres. You're not just doing, AOD and Isaac Avenin. You've got Steam Slicer in there. You might have, Mechanic A in there. You might have, there are all these different projects. And it's so funny to me because now I listen to indie music exclusively. I don't think I have when you were like, did you know Rick Astley had a new album out? I'm like, Michael Jackson could have put out a new album, of brand new songs somehow, and I wouldn't have heard about it because literally all I do is I listen and I prep for the show and then I write the reviews and I hear what I hear in the community. And I'm never bored. I'm never at a loss for discovering new things. I'm never at a loss for, and I mean, it's wonderful to know that. And I know Robin and Ambrose and Dom and Mel and Chris are going to appreciate that you brought up, AOD in the first place. We are legally required on every episode to mention Anger Overdose anyway. You just beat me to it, but it's by accident. But they do come up in every. But I mean, they're still a band. They're still on Spotify. Everybody can still love them up. But it's
I've been talking to Robert. I've been talking to Robert
Yeah.
now for probably close to about 2.5 years, maybe.
Yeah.
Just off and on, like when I first found out about him, and likewise, and we just felt like, all right, cool. So we email each other all the time, and yeah. So another reason why I like listening to all the indie bands is because I'm trying to make sure that we're not sounding like anybody else.
Well, you've managed that. I don't think you have anything to worry, because it was funny when you started talking about how there are bands that do some version of what you do, like Joel from Steam Slicer, or I forget who else you mentioned now, but that exist out there. You still don't all sound like each other. You just have more of a similar, I don't even know aesthetic is not the right word, but you're the way that you guys put music together and the way that you think about it and the way that what comes next looks like versus what many other bands would do is more of a piece, right? So, but I think that, you guys are, I mean, even just being, quote, just a studio project, which, I mean, again, I'm in a band that exists entirely online. So I get it. That's, that doesn't really mean anything for the music if you connect and you guys are clearly, in that mind meld that you are, the two of you. There's some version of music that's going to be the best version of it for everybody anyway. There are going to be people who don't like going out to shows and watching live bands. They don't want to fight through the crowd and the beer and the cigarette smoke and getting your ass groped when you try to go to the bathroom. They want to sit at home, and I know wherever I speak, they want to sit at home, or they want to be out in their car. They want to have it on the, in the background for a party or whatever. And they're, and listen to it that way. Or like me,
I'm on the lawn.
just, yeah, right. Exactly. But, I mean, like, I just enjoy the fact that I get to sit and listen to albums again.
Yeah.
People don't do that anymore, and it doesn't need to be more than that. Now, I mean, if I were local and you guys decided to play out, would I go? Fuck yeah. But like, I don't need that to enjoy you. So, I mean, it's, and it sounds like you have enough else going on, between the two of you that you could find other ways to scratch that itch. But Sandra, I have to say, you really need to let Chris talk a little bit, and me. You've just been dominating this entire interview.
He does not talk much at all. And we knew this was going to happen. He knew that I was going to be doing most of the talking. You were going to be doing a lot of talking. He was just going to be sitting here with the pretty like he always does.
There you go. That's it. You're glamming up the whole interview. Just sit there and shine like that. But okay. So, I mean, we talked about Defined a little bit. We talked about ELE and unconditional love and PTSD. Guys, really go through, there's, I would say the middle of the album is really where the most of the emotional meat is. You get into PTSD, you get into Hopeless, you get into Please Ask, and thematically at least, those are I love that those, and it makes sense to me now knowing how you guys built the album and the set, the song order, that it is that way, because that is how the story needed to be told. This is the way the world is, this is my little life raft here of unconditional love. But like dealing with PTSD and
people have this going on, but if you have issues, don't be afraid to ask for help.
Exactly.
If you don't need help, guess what? Light your own fucking fire into your ass and get going, dude.
That's right. That's right. No, but that's it. And I think that it's, but you guys, it's interesting because you spent 3 years releasing singles that basically built this LP, right? So
The following, we were trying to build, a presence of, we are a thing. This is our music.
Yeah.
And after we kept doing single after single after single, I was like, looked at him. I'm like, bro, let's just put out an album. Let's take everything that we did, put it together, add like 3 new songs. We only had 2, and that's when we were there.
Walk It Dry.
No, not Walk It. No, we already had Walk It Dry. We already had Darkest Parts. We didn't have
Bear the Weight. We haven't talked about Bear the Weight. Was it Bear the Weight?
No. Bear the Weight was we already released that as a single.
You're talking about the ones that you didn't release as singles?
Correct. Which was PTSD, Darkest Parts, and Walk It Dry.
Okay.
So we threw all 3 of those, and then with everything else, and then that's when like, okay, let's form a story. Let's put what this album means, to us and what we want it to represent.
Yeah.
And threw it out there. We did a cover song, and then did All My Demons, and working on a new one now.
Well, that was going to be my last question before we start moving into the final segment here. So, what is next for AGBAT?
We don't know yet. We're still screwing with it. Yeah, I heard this for the first time, like literally 5 minutes before you came on.
Okay. Is that what was playing right before you realized we were here?
Yeah.
I would have listened even more carefully if I knew that was a little preview that I was getting there. But okay. So that is a brand new thing. Then we're not immediately imminent on that.
No, we might release it. We might not even use what is here. We might just use a piece of what's here.
Sure.
We don't know yet.
Right, exactly. How would you know? You haven't written it yet.
I only heard half the song.
Right. But I mean, so is the plan to work on singles next? Is it to work on an EP?
I think we might do this. I do not want to be dormant for like 2 or 3 years, not release anything.
Yeah.
To be relevant, you need to release something constantly, consistently. At least 2 to 3 songs a year.
Oh yeah, at least.
Here's that. Oh, here's this. Here's another taste. Like All My Demons is the last song of the year. We're not writing anything else. Well, we're starting something, but we're not going to release anything else until the beginning of next year. But we might do the same thing where we do all these singles and keep like 4 songs, or like come up with 4 more songs, not releasing singles for like 6, 7, 8 months, whatever, and all of a sudden here's another album.
Right.
And
Okay.
we get all the singles along with the 3 or 4 songs that we haven't released, and
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay. So we will have new music coming, but it will come at the pace at which it comes, and it will sound like whatever it's supposed to sound like, which you don't know yet.
We don't know. The idea is to make the next song better than the last one.
Yeah,
So
it's always we hope that the next songs, we hope we don't go backwards.
yeah,
No, I mean, even just listening to All My Demons, you're not. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and say it's quote better necessarily, but it, and I don't mean that in like the it's where I just mean like because what you did already was so good and I liked it so much. So it's not like it was like, oh, thank God they've gone from that to but it is. I hear elements that I didn't hear on Darkest Parts, in All My Demons. And so I love that I like to think of it rather than an improvement as an evolution or an expansion or a deepening or that kind of thing. And not just semantically. I think that that's a more accurate thing to say because you guys are, Darkest Parts is a very strong debut. It really is. And I mean, I don't think there's a clunker on the album. And that's even on albums that, I remember in the days when I used to actually buy CDs and stuff by, famous bands, like you'd be like, oh, that's the one you skip. I don't like that one. I don't like that one. It's funny. And I don't know if it's because people are self-producing or what it is, but I don't find that generally in the indie community. I think the stuff that's on the EPs and it is a lot of EPs, which also helps. If you have 4 or 5 songs, you're going to make sure they're all really strong, but on an LP that's longer, you could theoretically get away with one where it's like, all right, here's kind of our throwaway. And I didn't hear that with you guys.
We don't do filler songs.
No, because you wouldn't like it. And then you wouldn't go on the album. So there you have it. It has to meet the Chris and Sandra standard. That's the whole thing. Those are the criteria we're meeting people. These two have to like it. The rest of us,
It's not a very high standard, but it's a standard.
Oh, bullshit. I would say that the entire interview up to this moment would argue with you on that. But okay, so we know we've got new AGBAT stuff coming out. It will be out when it's out, and we will enjoy it whenever we get it. In the meantime, go love them up on social media, like follow, do all the things, go to Spotify, go listen to that Rick Astley cover too, because those numbers should be higher than he's telling me they are. And you've got Darkest Parts to enjoy. You've got All My Demons to enjoy. There's plenty of AGBAT to go around already, but before I let you go, we do like to end every show with a little segment that we call In the Vox Seat. So I have asked every single musician who's been on this show these same 5 questions. Okay. And the last question I'm going to tell you now, it's a doozy. And I will explain that when we get there. But let's start a little more simply. And good luck here. But I'm not sure how this one's going to go. But for each of you, sorry, Sandra, you actually do have to answer. If you had to describe for each of you AGBAT's music in 5 words or less, what would you say? You each get 5 words or less.
Yeah. Energetic. Yeah. And heavy and warm at the same time. Yeah. This is tough. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You're done. You have. I got my own. I got your own. I know what I'm going to say.
You have 2 more, but you don't have to use them. So you have energetic, heavy, and warm. Is there anything else that you wanted to say for your other 2 words, or do you feel like that pretty much sums it up?
Help you out?
Yeah, help me out.
Progressive metal done our way.
Progressive metal done our way. Okay, there we go. But I like the energetic and the heavy and the warm too. That's kind of the tagline to yours. So that's your way. But okay, all right, very good. Chris was just fucking ready with it. He was like, I have a sentence. I have a sentence too. All right, so for each of you, favorite thing about being a musician.
Therapy.
And you get as many words as you want on that one, by the way. So I know that's the only one you needed for that one, Chris. But okay, so music as therapy. Gotcha.
Yeah, it's kind of the same to me, actually.
It puts us in our happy place.
Yeah, If I wanna be happy, put some music on. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, puts you in your happy place. That's good. Therapy, I like it. But then the flip side, your least favorite thing about being a musician.
Poor.
Ding, 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 ding. Tell them what he's won.
Okay, so not rolling in those solid gold cookies. I hear you.
We're still trying to make the dough.
Yeah. Oh, hey, I like that. Okay, yeah. So, all right. So, and money, I imagine, not only just because money is nice to have, but because it limits what you guys can do with the project itself.
A little bit.
Yeah. If we had if money was no object, we could buy the musicians we need to play the stuff that we write, and we be able to afford the stuff like going on tour. See, here's the thing. The band I was in California, we almost got signed. We had a meeting with he's the guy A&R guy who signed 7 Mary 3, Matchbox 20.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Third Eye Blind. And we won the Battle of the Bands. We sold thousands of dollars worth of tickets, and we got a meeting with him. And he sat down and we opened up our EPK and looked at everything. And he heard our songs and saw the crowd and went, "Why do you need a record label? You have everything here." He's like, "Because we don't have $25,000 to hand Sharon Osbourne and go, hey, can we get on the Ozfest tour?" He goes,
Yeah, exactly.
Take out a loan. Bye. We got up and walked the fuck out.
Well, that's rude.
And that's exactly what happened.
Why would you take that? Well, I guess he didn't.
We didn't get any money. We got paid with exposure. I will never do another Battle of Bands ever in my lifetime.
Yeah.
Ever. I don't care what they're offering.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what? It's bullshit. You're bullshit. Because once we sign with you, we're not going to make shit. So being independent as fuck, as my boys in Kingdom Collapse would say, be independent as fuck. Do your own thing.
Yeah.
Boom. If you need to take out that loan, take it out. Because that's what bands like Metallica did. They took out a loan. I actually met the person that wrote their loan. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah. That's what you have to do. If you're serious about your talent, you're confident with what you're doing musically, and confident with your talent, and confident with what you're doing. Guess what? You need to invest in yourself.
Yeah.
Put that mortgage on the house if you have a house. Do whatever you need to do to make it happen. That's why people get in the van. They tour around in the van. They live off of hand sandwiches with ham and just that's it.
Well, that's it. I mean, and Crimson Asphalt will be right there with you. It's like we're always on the road. We're always driving around. But we're having a real good fucking time doing it. And we're doing exactly what we want to do, exactly the way we want to do it. And that's, I think that's the thing is that, people think of the label as the panacea. No. And it's not. No. It's not.
They're if you can record yourself and mix and master yourself and do it professionally, you don't need a label. You really don't need a label. You can get your own distribution company. People have been doing it for the past 6, 7, 8 years, whatever, and even longer than that. But more recently, with independent bands, have kind of got the clue to go, "Oh yeah, we can do this ourselves." Yeah. That's what Kingdom Collapse did. Kingdom Collapse. They were trying to get a guy to record them. The guy screwed with them, and Jonathan was like, "You know what? I'm going to do this ourselves. We're going to do this ourselves."
Yeah.
We're doing it ourselves. I love that guy. I love that whole band. What they represent. It's independent as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, them, Carbon Stone, Anoxia, Post Profit.
And blowing up, just blowing up, and doing it on their own terms.
I'm friends with pretty much everybody that I just mentioned. I'm friends with on Facebook. And I'm so happy to see how far they've gotten and what they've done, and just the shows that they played and the festivals that they played.
Because you watch it grow. You watch it build. And it is actually, as the dreaded word, organic. It's really actually happened that way.
Yeah. So.
Okay, so is your least favorite thing then also being poor, or is it just, kind of related to everything that you just said about, getting used in bullshit in the industry and all of that?
It's just the bullshit. I mean, I have no desire to be in the industry because it's cutthroat. I mean, you're either in. It's as my mom would say, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
1,000%. I mean, if being in this indie community has taught Greg and me anything this year, it's that who's popular and who's signed and who's known and who's famous is all about a combination of like just luck and opportunity rather than talent, because there are so many people in this community that are so much better than anything that's being played on satellite or anything now, or touring or whatever, and it's just because they didn't meet the right people or have the right money behind them, and that's it.
There's a band here in Bergen called redefining that I'm a huge fan of. Love their music. They're absolutely effing amazing. Somehow we have more followers than they do. They've been around since like the 2010s, like almost 15. No, longer than that. 1998. They've been around since 1998.
Okay, so like 25 years. Okay.
There's 3,500 followers on Facebook. I'm like, who the hell is doing your freaking your
social media? Yeah,
who's taking care of you? And like, you need to fire them and get somebody else, because you guys should
say the name again more slowly so we can go look them up.
Ribozyme. Yeah, let me bring up
RIBOSYME.
No. It's like the scientific term, ribosome.
Oh, ribosome. RIBOSYME.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, guys. We're looking for RIBOSOME then. We're going to go and if there's only one, or just, Chris will post about it. And that way we can all follow it. Oh, it is okay, RIBOZYME. So they are spelling it differently. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So, now we know. That's another band to listen to and support. Yeah. Another one. Okay, so that is your least favorite thing, is just the industry bullshit.
Yeah, the industry bullshit.
That's a good one. That's a very, very strong one. Okay. So if you guys, each of you, had to choose just one album to listen to for the rest of your lives, what album would you choose and why?
Darkest Parts.
That is a fair answer. Okay. The band chooses itself. There you go.
I'm just kidding.
I always want somebody to actually do that, and I was like, maybe you're the guy, but no, you backed out.
No,
all right.
No, actually, I do like. I love the shit out of it. I'm proud of what we created. I'm not gonna lie. I'm my biggest fan, my own biggest fan, because I love what he creates and what he comes up with musically. I just love the shit out of it. I hate my voice. I don't think I'm a phenomenal singer, but I like the lyrical content that I came up with.
Okay, you and I are gonna fight about that one later, but okay, all right. So if you didn't go with Darkest Parts, what would you choose?
What would be my favorite?
I know it's an awful question, and most people absolutely hate me for asking it, but that's why I ask it, because I get good answers out of people.
I can't say a compilation album because
I know that's people have asked me, can I do a box set or whatever, but it has to be to be one artist. You could do a double album, but that's about as much as I will give you. So
I got to go with something from Seven Dust.
Okay.
Pick an album, any album. They're
okay,
all
so any Seven Dust album, it doesn't matter which one.
Maybe Seasons.
Okay, why that one?
Just the song content. Their new album is actually really good. The one they did before is really good. It's hard to pick. Fuck you for coming up with that question.
Yeah.
See what I mean? It gets people worked up. But okay, so something at least by Seven Dust. Okay. All right.
that would be, yeah.
Okay. All right. Sandra, it's up to you.
Yeah, that's a really tough one, yeah. Because when it changes all the time,
Yeah.
you know. You listen to one artist a lot and you really dig it, and then
Yep.
a new one comes out with a new album, and it goes like this. Wow,
Like I've been,
yeah, you want to listen to that one all the time.
Like I've been listening like the Conquer Divide. There's an all-female group
Yeah.
called Conquer Divide.
Yeah.
I've been listening to
Yeah.
them. I've been listening to Silent Planet. I've been listening to God, who else? Resolve out of Leon,
Yeah.
out of Leon, France. Patient 67.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I like the latest album from
Taproot.
Asking Alexandria.
Yeah.
That's a good album. So,
Okay.
It's either those or Annie's okay. But
And he's okay.
Annie's okay.
Yeah.
Those are good. But those are singles.
You gotta pick one. You have to. You guys have listed a bunch, but I'm not letting you get away with it. Sandra, what are you? If you had to choose,
No one did
Absolutely.
that. Should have got off the pot sooner.
Yeah. Since Annie's okay is just releasing singles as of now, the latest, I'll go for Asking Alexandria's album. So, yeah.
okay.
Okay.
And that's just because I won't even make you explain more why, because you're like, because I had to pick
No,
one. That's why.
but when Annie's okay is going to release the album, I'm going to choose them.
You're like, that's why, because the band I actually want to pick doesn't have an album I could listen to. So, all right, okay, I might let you record the singles onto a single thing as an album. I might give that to you. But all right, we've got an answer. So, all right, this is it, guys. We are at the last question, and I do like to bookend with the same level of erudite interrogation that I began. But this question has taken on a life of its own. And holy shit, when I decided to ask it for this show, I had no idea what was going to happen. But it has become an issue that is political and polarizing. There's literally music that's been written about it at this point. It is the weirdest fucking thing I've ever done. But here we go. Okay. For each of you, your toilet paper roll, when you put it on the holder, does the toilet paper come from over the top? Do you pull it out from under the bottom? And why?
Well, if you look at the patents for the toilet paper,
Yeah,
it
I
shows
knew you
it
were
going
going to be a
up.
patent guy. I knew it. Okay.
But you know, if there's paper, I'm just happy.
Okay. So now, but now because of this is my life now, and freaky things. Joe is screaming at me that I need to get clarification on this. Dom from Jamsteak 2. If you're happy that there is paper, do you put it on the roll though, and do you make a choice when you do that is consistent, or is it just sitting on the back of the toilet tank? Is it near you somewhere?
Here in Norway, we're somewhat civilized. Some of us have these things that you put all the toilet paper rolls on the thing, and has a little thing that goes bloop, like that. You can slide a roll on top of that. Whatever. When you're done, you can pop it up, pull up another one, put them up right there.
Okay. Do you have that?
I do have that, and when I put it on to where I can easily roll it off from top to bottom.
So, okay, we have Chris is an over. You have joined the ranks of the large and
But here's the thing about the throw a wrench in the thing. There's also I've seen where they have one that sticks up like this, and you put it on top, and you can either go from this way or you can go from this way.
You Grimrock it. It's the paper towel holder method. Okay, so but I need a final ruling here. In your home, you are an overlord. You put it from the over.
Yeah, I go over.
Okay.
I think he did the same
All right,
thing.
Joe, there you go. I got it out of him.
He goes
All
over.
right.
I don't want to smash things on the wall that shouldn't be there.
Oh, you're a wall guy. Okay. It's
No,
funny
no.
to me.
No, I'm not. I'm not a good wall guy. I don't want to smash things in the wall.
Right. So you put it over because you don't want to touch the wall. No, it is so funny to me that I think JD from Death Pigeon was the first person to use what could be on the wall behind the toilet paper roll as his reason, and he did make a now famous apology to the spider community that he did not want spiders on his toilet paper going into his special places.
Why would you want the toilet paper against the dusty door? Or against something that an insect may have walked on, like a spider? No disrespect to the spider community out there.
But I did not realize how many people had this fear, and Dom from Jamsteak had me rolling in a recent episode in the Always Hilarious Chat trademark when he was like, what the fuck are you people doing with your walls that they are so filthy that you are this afraid to have your hands or your toilet paper touch them? But okay, guys, so we have a dual over army ranking here. We have 2 over guys. That's it. This was a clear win for the over community. Now you guys will have to hook up with Joe from Freaky Things because he is your overlord now. He's the guy that runs the over army, so you'll have to do a collab with him about it. This is what we've wrought here, people. This was the, I did not think
what all the interview kids was built up to was for that question.
That's it. This is my fucking legacy now, is that I'm the toilet paper question lady. This is what happened to me. I can't go back in time now. There's nothing I can do about it, but here we are. So there we go. We have it. 2 overs. Chris, Sandra, thank you so much for coming on. I cannot wait to hear what AGBAT does next. And hopefully get to actually see it on Facebook and have it not be hidden in any way. Everybody, really, I mean it. Go like, subscribe, go Spotify, love them up. Really listen to that Rick Astley cover, but go more importantly, listen back to All My Demons. You already heard it. You know how fucking great it is. And then go listen to Darkest Parts, because it is a great LP and such a strong first thing for a band to be putting out. So I'm so glad you guys were here. It was so nice to finally get to meet you, especially Chris, since we've been talking for a while now. So thanks again. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
All right, guys, that's it. That's another Vox and Guest in the books. We'll see you next time. Bye.